Some photos just hit different. They just don't freeze time, they ignite it. They actually stay with you. They make you feel something real even if you don't know why. Turns out a lot of them come from one place. A group that has been quietly shaping how we see the world over 75 years. It's a global photography collective called Magnum Photos. Now, talking about Magnum, it was founded in 1947 by four photo legends: Henry Cartier, Robert Capa, George Roger, and David Seymour. They weren't your average photographers. They were actually storytellers with cameras, and all they wanted was one thing: control. Control over their images, their truth, and their voice. So back then, magazines owned your photos. They cropped them, twist the context, and tell their story. And these guys said, no thanks, we'll tell our own. And just like that, Magnum Photos was born. Now here's where it gets wild. You couldn't just apply for Magnum Photos. You actually had to be invited. And before that, they watched you for years. Your work has to be consistent, personal, and powerful. One photo wasn't enough. They wanted to know how you see the world. Once you were invited, you didn't just get a title. You joined a collective. You voted on who gets in next. You owned your negatives. You decided where your photos will be published and how. And that was huge back then. Most photographers had to hand over their work to agencies and magazines. And in that process, they lost all control. But Magnum, they flipped the game. You weren't just a photographer. You were a storyteller, a right holder to your work, and the most important part of a global brotherhood. Since then, Magnum photographers have been going everywhere history was happening. War zone, political upstrings, disasters, you name it, they were there. But also quiet streets, forgotten corners, raw, real life. Sometimes they even risk their life for a single frame. But see, here's the thing. It's not about shock value. It's not also clickbait. Magnum's magic is in its meaning. Every photo is a part journalism, part poetry. They actually don't chase trends, they capture truth. And the way they capture it, each Magnum photographer has its own fingerprint, his own style, their own way of seeing, their own way of telling a story. And let's talk about some of them and their style. What were they trying to show and how they are different from us. And to begin with, let's talk about the first Indian Magnum photographer, Raghu Rai. See, if Magnum had a soul in India, it would look through the lens of Raghu Rai. A photographer who didn't just document the country, he actually absorbed the country and showed us in the form of pictures. Raghu Rai's style is just like India, intense, layered, and alive. His frames don't just show you subjects, they actually immerse you. You can actually feel the dust, feel the humidity, and whatever that was happening in the picture. And I guess that's what separates him from us. Moving on to the other one who is also my favorite, Henry Cartier. He didn't just take photos, he captured time himself. A split second gone in life, but eternal in a photograph. He believed in what he called the decisive moment, that perfect fraction of a second when everything in a scene comes together: the light, the geometry, the emotion, the story. And click. He didn't crop, he didn't stage. He waited patiently, obsessively for the scene to offer itself, and when it did, he was ready. To Cartier-Bresson, photography was not just documentation, it was about seeing, about being fully present in the world. He called the camera an extension of the eye and used it not to capture what was obvious but what was fleeting. Every street photographer you have admired, they're standing in his shadows. Because he didn't just show us how to photograph, he actually showed us why. Let's be honest for a second. Most of us aren't Magnum photographers. We're shooting between meetings, we are editing on our phones, we're chasing likes, reels, and trends on Instagram. But on the other side, a Magnum photographer, they've been shooting every single day for decades. They have been funded, published, and mentored. They had the time and the freedom to follow stories across cities, countries, and even conflicts. That kind of opportunity, it's rare today. The world has changed, the industry has changed. Magnum was built in an era where those doors opened a lot easier for some. But that doesn't mean we can't aspire to their mindset. You don't need a war zone or a Pulitzer to shoot with a meaning. You just need to slow down and start seeing things. So what did we learn from Magnum photographers? The first thing has to be shoot with purpose. Don't just take photos, ask, what am I saying? What am I feeling? Is there a story here? Second thing has to be obsessive. Magnum photographers don't just wait for assignments, they follow stories that matter to them. They live inside their project even if nobody is watching. And the third thing is respect the moment. Magnum taught us that the best images come when you are present, not when you are tweaking settings. So you might never be a Magnum photographer in your life, but that's not the point. The point is you can still tell important, intimate, and honest stories right where you are. You can still make your camera a mirror of the world. And if you start doing that, you are already closer than you think. So we started with a question. What makes Magnum photographers so special? And along the way, we met some legends. We saw how they frame chaos, how they wait for silence, how they actually chase stories that matter. Not for attention, but for the truth. See, they had time, they had access, they had the luxury and the burden of watching the world closely. And yeah, that kind of path is very rare today. But the principles they lived by, they are actually within your reach. Because in the end, Magnum isn't just a photo agency. It's a way of seeing, a way of feeling the world before you photograph it. See, you may never join Magnum, but you can still shoot like a storyteller. You can still make photos that matter to someone, or maybe just to you. And honestly, that's a pretty good place to start.